It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show. Today's date is the 22nd of December. It's a Monday, TGIM. And John, are you ready for Brad's Top 3?
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
God, you're getting really good at that. I mean it sincerely. You're pretty much on the money. Ladies, one more time.
It's time for Brad's Top. It's number 3.
Okay, John, this is a... I can't find my what would John do, but this is like sort of a what would John do, okay?
Okay.
I have a good friend who I've known for, probably 15 years now. Very, very, very much involved in a lot of different political activities. And this is the kind of a person that really does a lot of good for the community. Not only volunteering her time, but also writing checks and supporting things. So over the weekend, I get an email from her, and she's asking me if we can promote an event. And I said, oh, what's the event? So she sends me, bring it up here. She sends me the screenshot of the one-pager they're sending out. It's called Rise and Run, Women's Political Empowerment Workshop. It's going to be held on the campus of Lindenwood University, January 30th and 31st. So in about 5 weeks from now, right? Okay. And it says, turn passion into change. We can teach you how. And it says, when women run, they succeed at the same rates as the men. This workshop empowers more women to say yes to public service. Women make up half the population but remain underrepresented in public office. Rise and Run provides the tools, training, and confidence for women to step forward and win. So, I didn't get the deal to talk to the Republicans in St. Charles County next month, which I've done for several times, what they call Candidate University. So I emailed my friend back and I said, hey, I really like doing these events. I've done several of these before. Would you like to have me as a guest speaker? And you know what her response was?
You need to grow a vagina.
Essentially, that was it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
like if you're not a woman, you're not invited. So we're going to advance the cause of women by excluding male experts who could give some insight.
Okay, you just said it, John. I'm thinking to myself, see, here's what I'll never understand. Okay, let's give an example. The black people were discriminated against. And let's be honest, they were. They were slaves. Then
Absolutely they were.
They were emancipated. In my lifetime, because I'm an old guy, 90 years old, there was still tremendous segregation. Not necessarily here in Missouri, but in the Deep South. You still had separate restrooms and separate water fountains and things like that. Okay, so then the Civil Rights Act in 64, everything is taken care of. Not everything's taken care of, but they've threw away most of the barriers, and there's still some barriers. Let's be honest, there are barriers to all sorts of ethnic groups. There are barriers against Jewish people, but that's a whole other story. Okay, so they get rid of all the barriers. So what happens? Like in our Congress, we have the Black Congressional Caucus. So isn't by its own nature having the Black Congressional Caucus, isn't that being discriminatory?
Yeah, and I think, Brad, jokes aside and sarcasm aside, because you and I both love to add a little bit of jokes and sarcasm to these sort of topics. In my days at a certain university here in St. Louis, I learned about the idea that the concept that minorities deserve to have their own exclusive spaces because, number one, for so long they were excluded from white spaces, and number two, they need their own spaces so they can talk freely about white people and other, perhaps, Asians or other groups without having white people observe and eventually discriminate against them. So I think I'm saying that fairly. So in other words, Brad, if you're a white man, tough luck. Now I can't imagine. I'm on this particular group's page, and Brad, is your friend involved in this group, or is your friend just kind of aware of this group?
She's involved in it. I'm not going to give her name because of the fact.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask you to. I'm sorry to interrupt. I what I'm getting at though, Brad, is that if your friend is involved and she doesn't want you there, that's fine. Like, I mean, I don't think we have a need to promote this. I mean, if they're going to be that way toward you, a man who could provide value, and you're discriminated against just because of your biological sex, then let them have a bunch of gals get together and gab about what they think is going to be successful in a campaign, and just let them have at it.
She sent me the original email, and I said, sure, can I be a speaker? I've done several of these. And her response was, not at this time, women-only program. So I'm going...
Okay, hey, you know what? And if that's the way they want to do it, good luck to them.
I don't understand it, John. I don't.
Well, here's the thing, Brad. I think if you had... There were probably, let's just be blunt here. I'm not putting your friend in this category. But if there are a group of women whose whole identity is based on being a woman, not of being an American or being a professional or being anything, but I am a woman. How would they feel having an accomplished man, an accomplished white man, and I'm not glazing you, as the kids would say, but an accomplished white man up at the podium listening to him give his expertise? That wouldn't make them feel good. You are the patriarchy, Brad, and they need somebody who can be angry, who can talk about how terrible the world has been to them. And by the way, they're not going to listen to you like they listen to a man. Rage! So they don't need Brad Hildebrand.
Well, just like my upcoming surgery, I don't care if the person is a dude or a dudette, if they're gay, straight, if they're Asian, if they're Hawaiian, if they're whatever they are. I just want a competent surgeon. That's all I want, John.
Brad. And you know what? If they want to, sorry to interrupt, if they want to bring in Karen Carroll to talk about radio, have at it. But you know what I'm saying? But if they wanted to bring in Jane Schmo, who once did media for the college feminist group at Webster, okay, well, let that woman be an expert.
See, in an ideal world, like the point I just made about the surgeon, shouldn't all of us be blind to sex and religion and ethnicity and all that kind of qualifying kind of stuff that makes us all a little bit different?
Brad, and let me interrupt. At Washington University, they would teach you that your view on that is based on being a white man, and the world has been so easy and kind to you, Brad. You don't understand what it's like.
I would like to have, if my life's so easy, I would like to have someone spend a week shadowing me, all the stuff I do. Like, for example, yesterday, what was I doing? I was fixing a bathroom here at the radio station, okay? And at one point in time, I dropped something into the toilet. And so I had to just dig down into the water down there to get it back out again. This is my life. So
yeah, well, see, that's what I mean. If you were a minority, Brad, you would somebody would come by and shove your head in the toilet and give you a swirly. I think my recommendation is that your friend is obviously a good friend to you. There's a reason she's a friend for you. And if she chooses to not have your help and participation, Brad, I would imagine as we get close to this particular date at the end of January, maybe she would be tempted to lean on you to promote it. I don't know. If she doesn't want you there as a speaker, I don't know why you would promote this upcoming event.
Well, here's probably the biggest problem I have. If she could have easily said, you know what, we've already got somebody talking about radio, broadcast, and digital, I'd say, okay, fine. But essentially, I'm disqualified because I'm a man. That's my problem.
Hey, you know what? Let them have a girl power thing, Brad. And you know what? They can use their own devices to promote it. That's awesome.
Okay. Number 2.
It's time for Brad's number 2. It's time for Brad's number 2.
John, Gene Simmons of KISS. Thumbnail sketch. What do you think of Gene Simmons?
Let's see. All I know about him recently is that he made a trip to a certain building, right, in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah.
Is that what you're getting at? I don't know much about Gene Simmons at all. I'm not a KISS guy, but I know that he is been praised by some folks, including our junior senator from Missouri, Eric Schmidt. I saw posing with Gene Simmons, I believe, on Instagram.
Interesting guy. I guess it was a year ago, I listened to a podcast with him and Joe Rogan, I can't remember if it was Joe Rogan. I think it might have been Adam Carolla. And Gene is an interesting guy, very well-spoken, tends to be on the blue side as far as whatever he talks about. He's always got he's sort of like John. He's got to throw sex in there somehow, something like that. Okay, this is what's interesting. On Sunday, Gene Simmons did an interview with CNN, and he urged Americans to, guess what, John?
Support President Trump, not be communist? What did he suggest?
Stop worrying about their neighbors' political beliefs.
Wow, there we go. Tell us more, Brad.
It says, his quote is, "It's nobody's business who you support." He told Manu Raju, is that the person's name? Is that my close enough?
Yeah, that's right. That's a big CNN guy.
Okay, on Inside Politics. He says, nowadays, people engage in So are you pro? And my first question is, who the F are you? Who are you? Since when does who I support or not support is the business of anyone except my conscience? Raju then asked Simmons about the Make America Great Again wing of the Republican Party. He says, some of it makes sense and some not. And he goes on to say, but literally have a sense of humor, take a pill, shut up and stop worrying about your next door neighbor believes or doesn't believe. It's their America too. And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy, I'm with him 100%. I mean, I've said this before. There's so many people now that like, oh, if you wear a Trump hat, you know, there was a you'd think this was not happening anymore. There was a thing I saw just, I don't know, a month or so ago about a guy that got kicked off. I think it was either a Delta or United Airlines flight because he had a Make America Great hat on. And when he says, why am I getting kicked off? He literally had the police take him off the plane, the whole bit. And it was explained to him that other people on the plane felt uncomfortable to have a MAGA supporter on the plane. Okay, what's he going to do? He's going to hijack the plane because he supports Trump? You know what I'm saying? I don't understand
Yeah, I
this.
mean, first of all, it's probably a dead giveaway that he's actually the marshal that's flying on that plane. Because he loves America. Yeah, I see Simmons' point. And, you know, I guess the flip side of that is that I think if you were a Rosie O'Donnell type, well, first of all, you wouldn't be in the United States. Excuse me. But I guess the point is, you have an obligation to speak out against someone who is a fascist. I guess that's the flip side of the argument. Other than that, there's not much of a flip side of the argument, I think, that's valid at all.
His last quote, he says, and I actually met the president and on and off for years and years, decades before he entered politics. And the conversation was about human beings. How's the family? How are your kids? And, you know, all that stuff. It's not always about politics. I agree with him 100%. You know,
yeah, absolutely, Brad.
I just don't understand everybody so wound up about the politics. Okay, ready for number one? Was that a yes?
Yeah, I want to hear it, Elaine Shaw.
And now, big finish, Brad's number.
John, you probably have this all covered already, but today is the big day because Missouri, I think it's safe to say, is going to lose its third football team. Have you know about this?
Yeah, I have a feeling that over the weekend, I had a number of stories up from Kansas City. What's going on over there, Brad?
Okay, this is from KSHB 41 in Kansas City. And it says, what you need to know. Topeka will be the center of the Kansas City area sports scene today. 1 p.m., Kansas officials hold LCC meeting to review possible Chiefs stadium finances. 3 p.m., Kansas Governor Kelly hosts special announcement. 4 p.m., KCMO Mayor Lucas possible news conference on sports team developments. So what does that tell you? If they've already scheduled, if the mayor has already, if Mayor Q has already scheduled a press conference to be held an hour after the Kansas governor's press conference, doesn't that tell you, hey, we did all we could, but they got a better deal in Kansas? Isn't that pretty much what he's going to say?
Maybe Mayor Quentin Lucas is there to spike the football and see, Kansas just conceded that they have lost the battle and we have won.
I don't think so. I don't
know, Brad. I think that my theory doesn't hold very much water there. So who knows, Brad? I mean, I guess we're going to find out today, right? I hate to just say we'll see, but we'll see what happens today. It doesn't look good, though, right?
Does not look good for Missouri. And the other part of it is, and I'll say this up front, I don't understand, because if you know the whole crazy thing, the deal was the Royals, one of the things that's been floated, they wanted to move the Royals into a new stadium in downtown Kansas City. John, I don't understand. I'll never understand, like we had the new soccer stadium built. Why in the world did they shoehorn that thing in where they put it, where there's no parking? Why couldn't they found like a big piece of ground out in St. Charles County? If they could call Scott Drachnick and say, Scott, we need a big piece of ground for our new soccer stadium. Whoa, well, hey, I get it for you. Or down to Jeffco. Or they could call the guy out in Franklin County and say, hey, Dave Schatz, we will send you our receipts, but can you find us a place to put our stadium out in Franklin County somewhere? I
love the fact that Drachnick had the idea of bringing the Royals and having them play indoors at the family arena. It was climate controlled. You could occasionally have Molly Dempsey used to work there, so you could do a cross promotion with Miss Augusta. The possibilities are endless. I don't know why the family arena didn't work well for that.
Okay, over the weekend, I had a conversation with one of my sports fanatic friends, and this particular person says Missouri dropped the ball on this. Do you agree with this?
Well, I mean, anytime you lose a professional stadium and you're a professional team and you're the incumbent, you can make the argument that someone dropped the ball for sure.
Interesting. And the other point was, but I still go back to this. Remember, we talked about this, and you sort of poo-pooed my numbers. But remember, I had that economic report. They said that in the entire Kansas City metro, if you look at the gross domestic product of the Kansas City metro, that the Royals and the Chiefs combined contributed less than 1% of the GDP. So
yeah, I do remember that stat. Yeah.
So it's not a big deal, and especially think about it for a minute, okay? With the teams playing these other country games, and they used to play like 8 home games. Now some of them get 9 because they've got the extended season with 17 games. But let's say the team has 8 games, and one of them is like someplace in Europe, so they only play 7 games. This is a multi-million-dollar. This is a 9-figure stadium. 9 figures, could be even be 10 figures, could be hit $1 billion like SoFi Stadium when Stan, dropped us like a hot potato and moved to L.A. And for what? For something that's used 10 days out of the year? You throw the pre-games in there? Maybe a couple games, you have a couple, concerts, big concerts like, Taylor Swift comes or something like that, or Guns N' Roses shows up and stuff like that. I mean, that's it. It's done. I don't get it.
Yeah, now, to take the devil's advocate side of it, Brad, you do a good job of pointing out how silly St. Louis looks when there's a politician who has some kind of a scandal, or there's some sort of ranking that puts St. Louis City at the top of crime stats. So there is something to be said, and I usually push back on you on that. I say, who cares what other people think? But there is something to be said for having a pro football team, having a pro baseball team in a city, and then, well, they just have a baseball team in the city. The football team moved across state lines. I get your point, though, Brad, and there are certainly ways to look at the numbers that show that it wouldn't be a huge loss. But also, I mean, there is some value in saying that team is here in our home state.
John, if there were another city, and I would say Nashville, because Nashville's changed quite a bit because they now have obviously a hockey team and a football team. But if there was another city in the country, let's say, comparable metro area, 2 to 3 million population, and no crime, taxes were low, climate was good, and someone said, John, you know what? We love this area so much. We'd love to have John Combest make this area his new home. And matter of fact, what we're going to do is we're going to underwrite your home loan up to $1 million. How long would it be before you said yes?
Well, I don't know. Dave Murray's been trying to get me to come to Palm Springs forever. I mean, the city has been luring me there forever. And I'm like, look, I'm not a golf guy. You already have one St. Louis radio guy there. His name's Dave Murray. You don't need me. You know what I'm saying? Your point's taken, Brad.
Okay, we got to take a break. We'll be back for the Crazy Word segment, a.k.a. C Block,